Okay, let's try and make something fairly practical with some of the things we've learned and see how it works. We're going to make a cloud logo, and that's going to be pretty simple. You can come up here and click on oval. Now, just as a quick little tip, I'm just going to select something else and tell you that ovals are also O on your keyboard. So you type O on your keyboard and you'll get the oval tool. And likewise, R on your keyboard gives you the rectangle tool. L gives you the line tool. V gives you the vector tool. So, pretty cool and nice, simple little shortcuts. But I'm going to grab the oval and I'm going to start sizing things up here. So, I can go ahead and make this 140 by 140, nice and even. Pretty easy. And then, like Illustrator, I'll just show you what I just did again. Like Illustrator, I can hold down Option. And first of all, it shows me all the guides when I hold down Option, which is nice. It tells me exactly where it's positioned in relation to everything else. And then I can pull this, and it makes an exact copy of it. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. Then I'm going to make a copy of that. Make that a little bit bigger. And I'm holding down Shift, just like I would in Illustrator or Photoshop to keep it in line. Make a smaller thing here. I think I'm going to trade these two. You can see I made a copy I didn't need. So these two things I know are aligned, right? So I can hold down Option and see how things align to other things. Right here, it looks like if I go to pull this, I see that red line hit right at the bottom there. So that's perfect. The only thing I need to do is kind of close this up. So I'll take a rounded rectangle and draw that. You can see here. I need to come down a little bit, over a little bit, and just double check here. I'll move it till I hit that red line. That's close. Not exactly. Press down once. We're getting there. Maybe what I need to do is increase the radius here. So now I can kind of extend these. And the more I increase that radius, the more gentle of a transition it's going to be into these two circles. So that's pretty smooth. Then I can take all of these things, right? All the ovals. Use Shift and drag them right into the rectangle. And there we have our cloud. Pretty simple, pretty easy. I'm going to hide the grid because we don't need to see it right now. Now inside the cloud, I'm going to go ahead and let's give it a gradient fill. Click on the white's fine. Click down here on the black, how about we do almost white. And up here, this I want pure white. So it's kind of hard to see. Maybe our second color down here, I'm going to add some blue into it, you know? Give it a little bit more of a cloud feel. Now this harsh line isn't helping anybody. I'm just going to turn off the border. I'm going to turn on a shadow. Big blurry shadow. Cast it down a bit. And I'm even going to change the color of the shadow. Just so it's a very gentle looking cloud. It's a little hard to see at the top. So what I might do is do an inner shadow here. The inner shadow could be very, very slight, just kind of curving over the top like that. Maybe even the inner shadow, as opposed to being black, that's also on the blue spectrum of things. goal is just to be really sort of gentle with the whole thing. And I'm going to crank the blur up on that. And you can go back and adjust. Just bring that down a little bit. That's looking pretty good. And I could even say Gaussian blur the whole thing, which is a really sort of intense effect. And you can see here how that looks. So if you want it to be sort of a fuzzy cloud, I'll turn that off. You can see there's another filter called reflection as well. And reflection gives you sort of a second shape. If I turned off the shadow, you'd be able to see it a little bit better. So there's the reflection. Turn back on the shadow. And I'm not loving the shadow yet. That's a little bit better. I just need to go more see-through on that. A little bit darker. So I'm liking that. I'll take this and just go ahead and use Alt, drag in a couple copies, and size them down with Shift. Also, if you hold down Shift and Option, like you would, it sizes from the center. I can just go ahead and take a rectangle, draw that out. I'll use this backwards button up here to put things underneath. You could also just drag it around to underneath all these things inside your layers palette. Just going to go ahead and give it a nice blue sky. Pretty bright there. And that was it. Pretty easily creating some basic clouds inside of Sketch. So now we've sort of taken the idea of our layers palette, we've combined some shapes, we put on multiple fills onto an object, we've put on some shadows and some CSS effects to it, and we're starting to be able to create things inside of it and feel confident about those things we create. In fact, if I was going to do this, I might actually take that inner shadow now and bring it up a little bit more. And go a little bit more gray with it. And bring it to blur up. Just so it outlines that cloud a little bit softer. Now, the last thing we're going to do before we sort of take off here is we're going to make some edits to some of these shapes and apply a style. Now, I made a change here where I put this inner shadow and I made it a little darker, a little bit more gray, and a little billowy by kind of making the blur larger. Over here in Style Presets, I'm going to click on plus, and it's very hard to see. I don't know if we can zoom in and show it. I don't even know if this is working, but it is visible. It is there, and it's this very light blue. I'm going to select a cloud and click on the same style and just apply those styles. Boom, 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 like that. And now I'm going to edit these two clouds by going expanding, choosing a path, and resizing some of these. That looks good. This one over here, I'm going to open this one up. Selecting a path. This guy, I'm going to make him really big. And this guy, I'm going to make him really big. And so there you go. 3 different types of clouds, 3 different styles, and super easy. So I'm glad we're getting to the point where we're starting to feel comfortable doing this. Next, we're going to add a little bit more complexity to the equation by creating some vector objects, working with the pen tool a little bit, and seeing some of the differences between its pen tool, Sketch's pen tool that is, and Illustrator's or Photoshop's. That's all coming up next, the pen tool.